We praise you, Almighty, loving Heavenly Father. We're excited because you are here. Our hearts are drawn to you in worship, adoration. Our minds are focused on you, oh Holy God. We're aware again of your power, your love for us. So amazing. And for each one of us, thank you for counting us as precious. Loving Lord, we want to offer all that we are to you in worship, our praises, our songs, our life, our future, all for your glory. Even now, Lord, thank you because you gave us such a wonderful life. A life that was worthless and yet you made it worthy and precious. And we want to thank you today, again and again. So all those who believe in you have come together today to seek you fully from the depth of our hearts and soul. To say we love you, Lord. To say we worship you. We want to live for your glory. We praise you. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Praise God, today we started with a wonderful time of singing, praises, worship. This is a continuation of worship as we look into God's Word and meditate. Every part, every moment is worship. So we praise God for this opportunity. And as you know, today is a very special day. I know in the Philippines, you will be maybe dancing or coming with. Okay. And as you know, today is what we call Palm Sunday. So we will diverge a little from what we usually speak about. We will speak more about rejoicing in God. That is the overcoming, the winning life, rejoicing in God. And so we will read from Luke chapter 19. Luke chapter 19, 28 to 40. Luke 19. There are other passages in the Bible, parallel passages, but we will try to stick to Luke 19. Verse 28. After Jesus had said this, he went on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. As he approached Bethphage and Bethany, at the hill called Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there." That colt is not a car, okay? It's a baby donkey. A colt that is tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, "Why are you untying it?" tell him, "The Lord needs it." Those who were sent ahead went and found it just as he had told. As they were untying the colt, the owners asked them, "Why are you untying the colt?" They replied, "The Lord needs it." They brought it to Jesus, threw their cloaks on the colt, and put Jesus on it. As he went along, people spread their clothes on the road. When he came near the place where the road goes down, the Mount of Olives, the whole crowd of disciples began joyfully to praise God in loud voices for all the miracles they had seen. What did they say? Let's read together. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest. Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to Jesus, Teacher, rebuke your disciples. Then, I tell you, he replied, if they keep quiet, what will happen? The stones will cry out. If you keep quiet, the stones will cry out. As he approached Jerusalem, he saw the city and he wept over it, and so on. As we celebrate this, God's presence with us, let's have this picture in mind. Jesus riding into the city with the crowds rejoicing, shouting, dancing. They're all excited. And I think you will be excited too if you are a participant. Maybe in a procession. We see lots of that in the Philippines. Procession, and here you find you will be able to sense the excitement, the air of festivity in the air, and as they dance. But from the beginning, let's see, because they consider all that as part of worship. Okay? Because they were here not just praising and getting excited, but they're also praising God for sending in the Messiah. God answering their prayers and their expectations. So they're praising God, actually. And they're worshiping. So, may I just remind you, politely, if possible, and softly and tenderly, that this is a place of worship too. So when we come here, we want to worship Him in spirit and in truth. Amen? And then the other point is, if you do not belong to the household of God, you have very little part of worship. Even though you may be very happy and excited with all the Messiah atmosphere. But maybe you may not have a part if you do not belong to God's household. Namely, if you're not born again. It's not my doing, it's not my saying, I didn't make that law. It's in God's word. If you are not a child of His, if you don't belong to Him, worship means nothing. Even if you're here. But we want you to be here. Please don't go away. But we'll give you opportunity to accept Him as Lord and Savior. Even as you sit there, you don't have to tell anybody. And God will accept you for that. And with that, we can join in the worship. Amen? Amen. All together we can worship. Thank you. Secondly, those who will find our worship meaningful. My voice is low. If our worship is going to be meaningful, number one, you must be born again. Please. As you sit there, please accept Jesus. If you can't, we'll try to help you in the end. Approach someone. Number two, I think if we're living in any known sin, deliberately, and we cannot forego, then maybe we become a stumbling block. We're backsliding. Our worship would mean very little because we're worshiping the most holy, perfect God. Even a little, He thinks it's breaking the whole law. So any known sin that you have, as you sit there, please confess it to Him, get it forgiven, cleansed, so that our worship will be meaningful as a group, as a family, as a household of God. Amen?
Amen.
And so let's continue on with our great picture of worship here. The King is coming. Actually, the King is here today. By faith, we believe He's here because He said so. And so He is here as we worship Him and we pour our hearts to Him. We give Him everything. Okay, let's see what the Old Testament says. The Old Testament had the habit of having all these festivities. And they have these processions, especially 1 Kings 19 it comes to mind, when the general Jehu fought against his own master, who was supposed to be the king, but he was backsliding, and he didn't obey God. And so he fought against him. And then the prophet, one of Elisha's prophet, came and anointed him king over Israel and Judah. And then what happened? All the people that were around about that, when they heard that, immediately knelt down, they took off their coat and put it on the ground for the king to step on the stairs inside that big palace. That was the custom. And they did that year after year in other places during other festivals. There are many festivals. Retelling the story of God's goodness, God's saving acts on His people, as a nation and personally also. Do you do that? We should be retelling these stories. We should be narrating it, acting it out sometimes. I know some of you have acted out, some in dancing, expression. Others do it through art, through all kinds, to see how great our God is. He is the one who loves us, who saves us. And we worship Him as we speak out His goodness and greatness among the nations. So, here is the story in Psalm 100. Let's turn to Psalm 100. A very short psalm. And when I was in high school, I already memorized this, but I forgot now because so long ago. And then the Bible translations are different again. Here is the welcoming psalm. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. I'm thinking of Gary Valenciano's song, Shout for Joy. I think this is here. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Why don't we shout at times? In one of our songs, there was one part we could shout, yeah. There was one part at the end, it said, yeah, in our worship song. That's a shout, but it should be louder. Okay. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before Him with joyful songs. Know the Lord, He is good. It is He who made us. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. He made us. He is the potter. I'm the clay. That idea is there. And we are the sheep of His pasture. He is my shepherd, the good shepherd. Enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him and praise His name. For the Lord is good, and His love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Have you seen this? I want to share with you what it means here in my personal life. Because some of you, in the past, you don't know your past generation, if they receive the blessing from God. And in the future generation, from you, next one, your children, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, have they been blessed? That's where we celebrate God's goodness, His love. We enter His gates with thanksgiving is cause of praise. So we welcome King, our King, in joyful worship. Let's go back once more. Let's read to once. No. Okay. A little closer. Celebrating the kingly sovereignty of Jehovah. It's a joyful communal worship. And they praise God because of the Creator, the most holy God. I'm very powerful today. My voice is so strong. 2 microphones have been broken. Most holy God, He is the sovereign King. The reason why in the beginning we said if you don't belong to the household, you cannot say He's my Savior. You cannot say He's my sovereign King if you're still harboring sin in your life. That's why we have to be cleansed of everything and come to Him in what He demands and what He calls holiness. Amen? And so they come to the celebration, as you know, with whatever they had in hand. Their clothes was the first thing. Of course, they didn't take off all their clothes like David did, but they took their clothes only, the one they wore over their clothes, that they put it on the ground. And as a sign, show of respect. Do you have a story like that? I know there was some, when I was in a certain country, that if a boy gives a jacket or a cloth that he's wearing to a girl, that means they're quite close. I don't have that kind of understanding. But in one country I went, they told me about that. So don't borrow your jacket to anybody unless you mean it. Here, there was a meaning when they did their clothes. It's a sign of surrender, a sign of loyalty, a sign of respect, a sign of worship too. So and then they brought like palm leaves. Okay, let's welcome the King. Welcome the King. Let's read, let's see. We can read these verses loud. Okay, all together. Making joyful noise, shout. Okay, good. Again, 93 verse 1. Shout, Lord, you reign. You are my refuge, my fortress. I trust in you. Lord, you are the greatest. Do you say that when you pray, when you worship? Okay, we say to Him. We say hallelujah to Him. Not to each other, but to Him. Okay, we'll do that. So that is what we do when we come we come to worship. When they came, when Jesus was coming in, riding on a donkey, they shouted. That's their way. They shouted meaningfully, not just hey, 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 hey. No, they shouted in a way they would be meaning. Lord, you are the greatest. And they must mean it because they existed. Their history depended on the goodness of God, the grace of God, why God had chosen them. And they are aware of that when they say, God, you are the greatest. You are my refuge, my strength, my fortress. Is God your strength, your fortress? Amen. Nowadays in the world, the teaching is you are the master of your life. There's a women's movement too. The woman freedom and women's week is just over. Then there are others who speak on those things. That you are the one who hold your own destiny. You have to work it out with determination, with a goal, and stick at it. Even if you fail, you go on. You can make it. And they say, if you reach for the stars, you'll get it. If you don't have ambition or aim anywhere, you get nowhere. That's what they tell you. Yes, that in a way, that's true. But for the Christian, here we find, our aim is to please Him, the one who controls everything, and we commit our lives to Him. In His strength we go. It doesn't mean we don't do nothing. We do everything to obey Him and to please Him. That's a different effort. In just thinking of my own self is much easier because I can be very selfish. I have my Apo here with me, and if he doesn't get along, if he doesn't want what he wants, he will cry and shout. Very selfish. They learned it young. Somehow we are like that. It's very easy to be selfish. But here, we are going beyond that. God is going to show us. Next, I like the word, you are my refuge and my fortress. It said, I trust in you. And then in verse 9, in that same Psalm 91, he said, you make the Lord your habitation, your dwelling place. So you are God's guest, actually. God's house, in God's house. You are His guest, even though He tells you, you are His child. Make the Lord part of your habitation. You are in God's house. Wherever you go, you cannot get out on your own because His life is in your hands. Future destiny of the world is in His hand. The future of history is in His hand. Eternity is in His hand. And we commit our life to Him. And we live according to that understanding. And it makes it all the difference. So we have to thank God for all this. Let's see what we can be thankful for. We are thanking God for so many things. But mainly, we may not have time to say all these things, but we have to thank God for who He is. We've already said He is the great God who is wonderful, awesome, majestic, glorious. His attributes are glorious also. Attribute means His characteristics, His nature, attributes. Maybe His love, His grace, kindness and mercy, all that included. And you know, each attribute is perfect, powerful, invincible, and it's for eternity, eternal. Every part of His attribute, when you think of God. And to such a God, we come to Him and we tell Him, you're the awesome God. And this is what we have to be thankful for. What He has done. Maybe you won't have time to say all these prayers. That's why there are some people who go for all-night prayer meeting to recount every step, and more so, when they count every point, there's so much to say, so much to tell God how wonderful He is. And in general, we have saving acts in our personal life we experience, the way He provides and He protects our lives in amazing ways. Some we don't know, but the ones that we know, we have to express to Him. Specifics, family relationships, answer prayers, our calling, our gifts, and so on. So much to thank the Lord for. And in general, in specific things, in the small, in the detailed parts of life, God is interested. I know this to some extent. May I repeat again my Apo. When I see him, even the little things he likes or he does not like, it interests me. If he walks, if he falls, if he cries, if he laughs, it excites me. I think that is how God is interested in each one of you. What a wonderful God you have. Amen? Amen. And this is why I am thankful for him. The Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever. Forever. So he's going to be showering his blessing, his favor on you forever. Not just today. Not just in the past. Not just the immediate future. But forever. He's preparing us for forever. Warranty, everything guaranteed forever. Okay? And this is why I'm grateful for. In the small things. In the little things. So, are you in the household of God today? Amen? Say yes. If not, please be in it. Are you harboring any sin that might stop you from worshiping God? That might block his blessing upon us? As a group, as an individual. Communication stops. Outwardly, yes, I can do all that. But in my spirit, there's some wall of separation. I must confess, get rid of that. And then, when I come to him with praises and worship, with songs, with dancing, with all that I can have, then it becomes meaningful. I'll be truly blessed. What are you thankful for? Because here, he says, his love endures forever, and his faithfulness for how many times? To all generations. I'm very grateful for this. May I just point it out? I hope I don't break down. Forgive me if I cannot talk. Okay. I'm thinking of my generation, how I praise God from my grandfathers. Okay? From my grandfather, from my father's side and mother's side, they were the early Christians. They had to suffer for their faith. And somehow God protected and preserved them. And they were able to get good jobs. And they became leaders of their people in their own field, in their own areas. And then my parents came along. They were trained in the same kind of faith to live. And then I came along. We were taught generation after generation. And then my children came. We were blessed in a wonderful way, the blessing. There were many things we did not know how to raise children in at times. Somehow God looked after us. And we had our son born in America, and then he became very sick. Somehow we thought we might lose him when we went to Bangkok and came to the Philippines. And in the Philippines, my daughter was born. It was much easier because we have a yaya to help. In America, you don't get yayas so easily, so expensive. But in the Philippines, it was much easier to grow up. And when I look back, how they were raised, their schooling, their friends, many people that helped and supported us. God's hand was in every step. It was not our merit. We're not that charming people. We're very proud sometimes. So people find it very difficult to agree with us. But somehow, people of God helped and supported us through the years. For me personally, it's more than 50 years. Anyone 50 years? More than 50 years, God provided for my need through God's people. He provided for my grandfathers, my fathers, and me. And now He provides for my children and my grandchildren. when they want to go to college in the United States, as missionaries, we don't have money for expensive education in America. Somehow, through different connections, God provided. It's amazing. That's why, to all generations, God's faithfulness, His love endures, and forever. And then He to us for generations. Amen? Praise God for that. Thank you. And next, I would like to say a little, when we look into this great episode in Luke 19 and Mark 12, John 11, and Matthew 21, Luke 19. Every gospel mentions this triumphal entry. It's amazing.